Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome back to Clicker. So, last episode we kind of left things off abusing the auto clicker I have installed, just to see kind of how far we could push it by leaving it overnight, kind of seeing where we get to, and this is the result. We have almost 5 quadrillion. We are working towards the 200 quadrillion mark on the Ascension kind of coins. Let's have a look here. We have got ourselves up to lasers. It's looking like 50 quadrillion to get, looks like the big bouncy ball, which is on the achievements. Where are we? We see we haven't really done a lot because we turned off auto clicker on the upgrades for that one. And let's have a look at these achievements. Okay, so laser purchased. Get the AoE to size 1. Achieve 50,000 critical. Spawn 200,000 projectiles, 50,000 spawn lasers, spawn spears. So all of these are spawn. Okay. Destroy 1.5 million fallen cursors. Okay, so we get 20,000 coins right there. So that's insane for when we ascend. More cheaper click upgrades, 1,000 active click gold, 500,000. Okay, so new skin, and then more click gold. Okay, so we have 43 of the 55 achievements right now. We have what looks like a kind of glass skin, and I quite like this one. This one's kind of like an X-ray skin as well. So yeah, so we seem to have got, I mean, what are we hitting for? We're hitting for around 92 billion. And is that going up? I mean, that's going up pretty well. I think if we try and kind of upgrade things a little bit, let's see. I don't upgrade it too much because I just want to kind of see where we are on the, like where we can get to with all the coins that we have without kind of diving in too much. So we get these up to about 100 trillion. And then where are we with this? Okay, just checking that. I mean, 50 quadrillion for that is going to be quite a lot. How many? We have 34,000 Ascension coins to kind of spend. Okay, so that's going to be pretty fun to do. Let's get this up to 100 trillion as well. That's gone up pretty quick. Okay, and yeah, let's just get the passive up as well. Now, is this bar going up at all? Yeah, I mean, it's really not, isn't it? Let's have a look. So the laser just kind of looks like it's, I wonder if it kind of does it in a circle or if it does it close to the giant cursor. Looks like it's kind of like in similar range of the spikes. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of coming along pretty nicely. But yeah, so I think we're at like a massive halt. You know, we were at like the trillion mark when we found some resistance and we kind of hitting a plateau there. Now we just kind of really slow on that one. So let's ascend. We have lots of points. I'm sure that we can get some good levels out of that. Let's get this up to 30. Let's get this up to 30 as well. Let's see if we can get everything up to level 30. See how much kind of Ascension coins we have left. Let's leave the gold. Let's get this up to 50 because we do use quite a lot of clickers on that. Let's get these up to like say level 20. Let's go 30 on each and every one of these. Just to see. I mean, 4% is pretty decent considering like how fast they all kind of drop. I think this one's going to be a pretty good one, but yeah, this is going to get real expensive. Let's get it up to 1%. The tier, let's do that. Ooh, you see that's getting real expensive. Let's see what happens when we get this up to 30. The actual timer is going down, so that's not great. Shall we get this up to 50 maybe? There we go. So we get 500%. Let's get this up a little bit more. Let's get up to 70. Let's push this all the way up to 70 and see where we are when it comes to what we have left, because these are really getting expensive. So we have 12,000 points. Let's just kind of evenly kind of spread them out. This is super cheap, so we might as well just get this up to 30. So we start off with a lot. Let's get this up to 40. And let's get it up to 50. So it's almost half now. Might as well get that up to 40 since we keep the round numbers. 40, 40, 40. Yeah, let's get this up to a little bit more. Might as well just get this up to 50, just so we're kind of, we're pretty much spent. Maybe a couple more. Anything else that we can do? Yeah, let's get that one up as well. Alrighty, so what do we have? Level up, click extension upgrades 200 times, get it up to 50, acquire 5,000. So we're kind of on the last kind of home stretch now. We do have a little bit more. Purchase spike ball and purchase ball turret. Given that how expensive they were, I think these are going to be pretty expensive. I think this is where we're going to get into the kind of the sextillions kind of area. Let's turn on auto purchase just to get these up a little bit, just to kind of make things easy. And let's just turn that off right now. I'm going to switch over to active. Let's have a little blast of the auto clicker, and then let's see where we can get to. I mean, you can see the difference in just all of these different clicks, and also I think we need to get these leveled up, because I think right now with the amount of things falling, we need to capitalize on how much we get on the little gold cursors. So when we click, we see if we can get any more. Yeah, you see, all of these. I mean, we're getting 7 ascension points for every purple clicker that we get now. So what can we achieve kind of today in this kind of ascension? Level up click ascension upgrades 1,000 times. So we need to get, I mean, what do we have? We have 12 tools, so we kind of need to get these all to about 100 in order to get that one. Purchase the projectiles just means we have to get enough money to do so. Spawn a bunch of stuff. Bounce the big ball 4,000 times. That just means we got to buy it. So yeah, the quintillions and the sextillions, we don't have a lot to do today, but it does mean it's not going to take some time. Given that I think we were struggling at quadrillion to get to sextillion. That's like 100. I mean, the multiplication of like what we need to get there is just like pretty wild. So let's just keep trying to level up things. Make sure we are getting these up pretty high as well. These actually contribute a little bit towards things, especially when we click when we get a critical. I mean, see if we can get, some of the criticals are about 23 million, where the normal clicks are about, let's see, they're about 5 million now, but it's about 4.3. And all of these projectiles are kind of taken out quite a lot. And we're already at the 2 billion mark. That hasn't taken like any time whatsoever to get there. We were kind of, the very first, we were kind of struggling at 200 million, and we were struggling at 200 billion. And then I think last episode we were getting to about like kind of in the trillions. And even with all of those kind of upgrades right now, it has kind of slowed down a bit, not too much. I say it's been a few minutes, and we're kind of like getting to that 200 billion mark. But yeah, things do kind of slow down real quick, and then it all comes down to kind of like, it's, a bit of a grind. I mean, it is a clicker game, but it's kind of turning more into a kind of an idle kind of waiting game just to kind of get to where we were. I don't think it'll take too long. I think, with a few upgrades, it'll come to the kind of the trillions will be relatively easy, I think, just with the way the things are progressing, but we'll see. So let's kind of give this a few more minutes. 64 ascension coins, okay, that's quite a bit. I mean, we're already, with the upgrades, we're at almost 3,000. So we are kind of getting there. And then looking at the, getting 10,000 click ascension coins by upgrading. Let's actually count, see how many levels we have right now. So that's 41, that's 81, 121, 161, 163, 213, maths going 293, 363, 413, 463, 505, 543. So we're kind of just over halfway, and things are getting pretty expensive. So in order to kind of level up enough to get that, we need to kind of double our levels. And obviously you've seen, we've spent like 35,000 points there, or 35,000 ascension coins. So things are getting pretty expensive pretty quick. So the need for ascension points is pretty crazy right now. Now that we got this, let's just make sure we're getting as many of these as possible. I mean, we're in the 50 billion mark now. We've already maxed out spikes. So spikes are kind of rolling pretty quickly. Just make sure we are getting as much fallen gold as possible. I mean, look at that. We're already up to the 6 billion mark. And then as the more kind of passive we get, the quicker we can level up. So I'm kind of going to just let this kind of run its thing for a little bit. When we get back to when we get into the kind of trillions, we can have a look just to see how much resistance we are getting with the progression. And then, yeah, we'll just take it from there. Okay, and welcome back. That didn't take too long, maybe about a minute or so. And we are already at the kind of trillion stage now. So it is taking a little bit of time, kind of a little bit less kind of progression than I kind of thought after spending all of that. Which is weird because I was expecting, given that we're in the kind of quadrillions kind of overnight. I mean, we left it for, about maybe 9 hours total. It was pretty late when I was kind of recording last night, so a little bit surprised. I mean, there is a bit of a progress bar starting, so maybe it is going to kind of ramp up a little bit, but I kind of feel like this is kind of at a massive kind of halt right now, considering we were like kind of 10 times the amount when we kind of kicked things off this morning, which is kind of surprising. This game was, a relatively kind of fast progression, and then kind of like over time, it's become more of an idle game than an actual clicker game. I mean, if it wasn't for, the kind of the abuse of the auto clicker, which I think like many of these games kind of expect, if they don't put in like kind of things to kind of prevent auto clickers being used. This is, now definitely kind of more idle than anything else. I mean, it's the cost for these kind of upgrades and kind of the achievements, which is kind of focused on in order to kind of gain all the bonuses and stuff like that. I think it's kind of like for the completionist. I think it's definitely a bit of a grind in order to achieve that, which is kind of surprising. I thought this would be a bit more kind of, progression all the way. Like, I would think, like, kind of for this kind of game that, by the time you get to 50 achievements, which kind of really is what you're kind of looking for to complete the game, that's when the grind should really start. But like the fact that we've had to kind of leave this overnight auto clicking, I mean, the amount of time it would take in order to kind of like get to this stage. I mean, look at the stats right now. Okay, so we'll start at the top. So we've managed to acquire 55 quadrillion. A lot of that was from last night's kind of like leaving it running. Okay. Active click gold is 15. So that's contributed, It's quite a lot. The passive, I'll just click this just to make sure. The passive click gold is 50 trillion. So just leaving it kind of like, even if we weren't clicking at all, we'd only have 50 trillion gold in passive. Most of the contribution is the falling cursor click gold, which is cool, but that's related to the active click kind of stats. So the more we've leveled up that, the more the kind of the fallen cursors kind of contribute. Crit, 11 quadrillion. Okay. So right now we've clicked 2 million times. Auto clicker is only contributing 163,000 of that, which, is quite a lot. But, given how fast it's clicking, I mean, you could probably click, maybe about triple that. I mean, you can hear it in the background, the click, 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 click. So, it's a lot of clicks thanks to the auto clicker. What else we got? Total crits. Golden fist clicks, 675. I mean, that's quite a lot. It's obviously triggered kind of multiple times throughout the night when we've kind of left it on. We've had like kind of luck where it's kind of hit kind of within the range of the AoE. We have 38,000 click ascension coins acquired, so we're going to need like double that to get close to that 1,000 levels on the upgrades. I mean, obviously we spent all of it, unlocked everything. Oh, it actually says, how many purchases, so we didn't really have to do the math. We have 11 million. Is that 11 million? No, it's only 1.1 million cursors for spawned. Okay. Projectile stats. You can see here. And look at that, I mean, we still have 4 things to unlock. I mean, 4,400 lasers spawned. What do we need on the achievements? There is one of them, right? Or have we done all of them? 10,000 arrows, 4,000. So 10,000 arrows is the one that we haven't done yet. Where are we with arrows? Oh, spears, sorry. 32,000. And for the achievement, we need 10,000? Wait, what? Is this a different... I wonder if... Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Spawn 10,000 arrows. Have we not done that? I mean, I know the spears is one, but is this going to be a different upgrade? I wonder if it's a different upgrade. It must be a different upgrade. Interesting. So yeah, so that's kind of like... I think the strat that we had before, oops, wrong one. I think the strat that we had before where we kind of like got up to the kind of the mark where we got to like kind of like a plateau, like we only have 20 trillion now. It's going to take quite a while just to get up to 200 trillion, and we're only going to get 333, which is like kind of like 6-7% to get to that next one. And we got to, this stage within like 60 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this up to, I'm going to ascend a few times. I'm not going to spend any of the ascension points quite yet when I do ascend, but I'm kind of going to give it a few minutes where I'm going to try and get us another 40,000 ascension points. And then what I'm going to kind of really kind of dump into is just getting the active gold. Because like, even with this almost 4,500% active gold increase, now it's saying here 16 million is our kind of current active, and we're getting, close to 1 billion on the clicks itself. So it is kind of really kind of increasing that. I don't know what the actual passive is, just because it doesn't really tell like kind of what it is. So it's basically whatever 50 million times 3,500 for what the passive click. So let's do that. Let's kind of give it a minute, and then we will be back, like I say, when we get to about 50,000 ascension points, and then let's see kind of like what difference that will make, and then I'll kind of make a note of like what sort of time we're looking at for that. So yeah, let's see how things go.
8:01 p.m.
And welcome back after what seems to have been a very short amount of time for you guys, but this took maybe about 7 hours to get where we are now. When I was doing some ascensions, what I found was we were only getting about 2,000 ascension points every time we kind of run up to a kind of plateau or stumbling block, trying to collect enough coins to kind of level up. But what I did notice is that the longer the game ran, the more of the purple cursors were falling, and that we were creating more ascension coins from those than we were from prestiging, or ascending, I should say. So we kind of looked at it where basically letting it run with the auto leveling or the auto clicker seemed to kind of create more. The only thing we had to kind of pay attention of was just leveling up the projectiles. So as you can see here, we have quite a considerable amount of levels on these projectiles. I mean, we almost have enough for the big bouncy ball, just the way we've been leveling. But just to kind of have a look at these ascension coins right now. So this run itself, 25,000. So we're going to kind of level up now. And then we're going to try and get enough to get up to 1,000 upgrades. So I just want to kind of have a look to see which ones are the cheapest. And then we can kind of level up based on that. So it looks like we'll get this one up to 83, I think. So let's see if we can get this one up to 100, right? Let's get that up to, 101 for that. So this is going to go up 2, so we can get this one up to 100. There, okay, what's next? Okay, let's just kind of do this until we get to, it costs 200. Let's get this one up the same, so it's 200. And basically just trying to get so that we're not spending maybe this one up to 150, this one up to 150, because we are starting to burn through them now. That's already up 150, that's pretty high. Let's get this one up to 150. Let's get this one up to 150. Really trying to get up to the 1,000 and just kind of trying to make sure that this one here isn't really that important, but in terms of getting that extra 10,000 ascension points, where are we right now? Okay, let's have a look to see what level. Nope, I was kind of hoping it was that one. All right, so we have 780 levels right now. Oops, wrong one. So we have 700, so we need another 200 levels with 26,000. So let's just buy another 50 here. Get that one up to 200. I'm really hoping that we can get it up to that amount, just because an extra 10,000 would go pretty far. I mean, but we're burning through so much now. I'm not sure if we can quite get to it. Okay, with those ones, where are we? 888, so we need 112 to get that. So we're getting so close, but I don't think we're going to actually get quite there with that. I mean, we're just burning through so much. So we have 100 in that. Yeah, we're not going to get there, unfortunately. Just try and... Is there anything less than 175? Let's get this up a little bit. These are all 200 now, so they're getting quite expensive. A little bit more. So that's all we got. So we had 55,000 ascension coins over quite a long time of kind of collecting things. And we just don't have nearly enough to get even remotely close to the 1,000. Like we have, let's have a look. we need another 70 levels. So if we can get them at around like kind of 200, which it's going to be a bit more than that, that's going to be a lot. You know, we're looking at maybe, 200 per level for another 70 levels. That's basically what, 700 would be 10. So we need another 14,000 ish, maybe a bit more than that, just to get to where we were hoping to get that one achievement. Which one was it again? Yeah, so this 10,000 ascension points, we need another 15,000 just to level up enough times. And in terms of like kind of, we didn't even get close. We didn't even unlock the bouncy ball, which is the fourth from last projectile. We were kind of like leveling up some of this just to kind of get, so, but again, these were like quadrillions to upgrade. So it was just like the actual amount that you need to play in order to get to that kind of level is wild. It's just like such an exponential grind. You know, when we first got on the first, episode, it was kind of running by relatively quickly, considering it was a couple of hours, and we got them kind of within a good space, where we were looking to get, I think the first stumbling block was the 200 millions, but that was only like 15 minutes of grind. Whereas now we're not even up to the quintillions, there's like a sextillion after that achievement. So the fact that it takes so long to do this is just, it's no longer a clicker game, it's somewhat an idle game. And bear in mind, this is with abusing like an auto clicker to be able to get that. So, given that, it is going to take quite a long time in order to get that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of see if we can just basically show you a bit, like, up to the 200 million mark. So it is getting a lot faster, don't get me wrong. And we can get these up pretty much into the billions just to kind of help out. We can just kind of keep running. See, I don't want to spend a full, let's just do it in orders of 10. You see, you can't even do it in orders of 10. That's just, we're still on just single digits on trying to get these kind of leveled up. Like this is going to take, okay, so that takes, okay, so we can get the max on that at least. I do like the boulders seem to kind of like really kind of take out a lot of the kind of the cursors, which is, great, because that's kind of where a lot of our money is coming from. It's essentially, getting us lots of ascension coins. These few minutes that we kind of been running, we are kind of making billions right now, which is, 400 billion. It's getting there relatively quickly by clicking on, this. And then if we have a look at here, we can kind of, really just step this up a little bit pretty easily. We have a 10% crit chance. And as you can see, that kind of does, you can see the crits kind of come in. What are we getting if we can work out, if we can see one, I can't even see 500 million there for the critical. Now, bear in mind, when I was leaving it kind of to run for a bit, we were making like billions and trillions, kind of like, so it takes a considerable amount of time in this game now. The grind has gone like exponentially like bigger, so let's kind of let this run a bit, see where we can kind of get up to before we get that kind of ascension kind of plateau. We're getting pretty much into the billions now, are kind of like irrelevant. We get through quite a lot and it goes up pretty quickly. And it doesn't take too long to kind of get there. Like I do keep on clicking like passive just because, it does help. It's all coins at the end of the day. But yeah, things are becoming a bit more of a challenge than kind of initially thought. I thought with the kind of the way the progression was happening in the first episode, yes, there would be a bit of a stumbling block, but the stumbling block I felt was just kind of like temporary, and it was just like, a 30-minute, hour maybe tops of gameplay. But the fact that it's getting to like this level I mean, I know we've got majority of the achievements. There's only like a handful left, but you know, when you're looking at like kind of like you can't even get the last of the projectiles. Normally in clicker games like this, you can get at least basic like kind of tiers of things, and you manage to unlock everything. But you know, given that we are using an auto clicker and we still haven't even bought the last three, this seems to kind of have like a really high ceiling for the quote unquote end game. So yeah, so you can see now, like, look, this is the first, we're still kind of struggling at trillions. And like, kind of like, if you look, like, we went up like 100 levels on some of these, 200 levels on like the coin, which the coin's probably the most useless one, like at this stage, because we get 50,000 within like seconds. But again, the only reason we leveled that is just so we can get the achievement. An extra 1100% on you know, coins is pretty good, because that does affect the amount that we get from fallen purple cursors. We get like 12 now, so that does mean that we are going to get a lot more ascensions. Now we're at the, you know, trillion stage now, we're already getting 3,000 now. You know, 15,000 is the aim, to get that extra like 10,000 ascensions from the achievements. But like, kind of looking at the achievements now, we still have 9 achievements to go, and these are just getting wild. I mean, 1 quintillion, the fact that we ran this overnight, we started this morning, it's now kind of late, like, kind of like, you know, we have another 6 hours of it auto running, and it's still like, where are we in terms of coins? We're not even halfway there to quintillions, and sextillions is like, even like, you know, like 1,000 of that. So at this rate, it's going to take so much time before we get close to that sextillion. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to kind of call it for today. What I will do is I'll run it in the background, essentially. At this point of the recording, I was deciding whether to continue the video, given how long it was going to take to kind of get the final achievements. But I thought, you know, might as well kind of grind it out and kind of showcase the rest of what it's going to be to kind of level up. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time kind of like leveling up things right now, and really focus on the click ascension kind of upgrades. I think by doing that, we can speed up the kind of the amount of ascension points that we get per run, and hopefully generate enough ascension points in order to kind of really accelerate the click and power kind of upgrades for that. So it might be a bit of a grind, but I'm going to leave it tonight, wake up tomorrow. It might delay the posting of these videos, but, you know, a few seconds in, you know, editing for you guys might be a couple of days of leaving this AFK, just to get to a point where we can finally see all of these achievements unlocked. So, with the magic of video editing, let's see what happens.
Tomorrow for sure.
And a few hours later, when I say a few, I mean about 12, we've hit 2 quintillion, which is, you know, pretty much what I was expecting in terms of like progression through this. We have got a little bit further now. We have, in terms of projectiles, we've managed to get our way all the way up to arrows. And in achievements, we've got a few achievements. So we've managed to get 1,000 levels of upgrades. The arrows must have unlocked pretty soon, as well as the big bounce for the big balls. And also, kind of more importantly, the 7,500 click goal increase. This is going to be quite dramatic. Just let's have a look here. So now it was about 10,000. Now we're at 17,000 for that, and about 15,000 for the goal increase. Now, just before I went to bed, I did kind of spend a bit of time kind of leveling up things, just to try and get to a solid point. Just for when we kind of left it kind of going AFK when I went to sleep. And as you can see here, we have 430,000 ascension points. It's going to take quite some time to get to this 200 quintillion. So let's kind of ascend now. Let's kind of work on a little bit of leveling. And then before we kind of do that, we will quickly get that on passive just so we can gain a little bit of gold and get a bit of a head start while we do that. So let's get this up to, say, I don't know, 400 just to get that going. And then what we can do is we can do the same for the passive. Let's get it up to 300. Just to kind of click away. Get carpal tunnel maybe while I'm in the process of clicking. As the how slow the progress is getting, and we've got, to get up to 1 sextillion is a long way off, even now. So I think we got 2 quintillion there. So you have to do that another 998 times. Things will obviously get a little bit quicker. Let's just get this up to about 125. We can get this up to about 200. One thing I did kind of notice is the actual cursor tiers does actually help quite a lot, especially when we hit the projectiles. Maybe get this up to 200. So the projectiles, the fallen cursors do actually make quite a bit of money, which I found a bit surprising. But given that there is so many kind of cursors that are fallen, by tiering up the cursor level, the multiple projectiles do kind of actually create a decent amount of or generates a decent amount of gold. So you can see here, we've done 17 quintillion, which is pretty solid. Even when we were leveling up and focusing on kind of the active click gold, that only contributes to 2.23 quintillion, whereas the fallen cursor actually now is almost 12. And because of that, I was quite surprised how much more the fallen cursor is doing, and that's really just down to the tier. That this tier level here, we don't quite have enough now to level it up, but it was pretty solid. It was moving numbers, and as you can see there, it got to the point where it didn't really matter about the actual click gold being using the auto clicker for that. Obviously this does factor in how much the fallen cursors are worth, but it really did kind of help out, really get us to where we are now. Let's just have a look to see what other grades. We've got 132,000 to spend. Might as well just get these up to some decent kind of levels. Let's get these up to, say, let's try 200 for that one, maybe 250 for the diamond, maybe 200 for the other two. Let's just kind of click through here, and then maybe 150 for that, just with how quickly our ascension points are going down. And yes, we are kind of clicking quite a few levels and burning through the ascension points, but you can see it's just how much it is making the grind. I think 3.5% for that is good. I think we can. We spend the rest on these really. Let's get it up to. Can we get to 400 on this one? Yeah, and then let's just spend the rest just kind of leveling up here. And is there anything else that we can do? I don't want to do starting gold because that's kind of pointless. Okay, so let's get this switched back to active. Let's just kind of add a little bit of auto clicker abuse, and let's just see how quickly we can get to see how we go. Kind of right now, we're up to a quintillion there on the last one. So I think if we can get remotely close, we're already maxing out stuff. Maxing out that spikes is just a kind of indication how much we are kind of going through. And you can see here the progress bar for the Ascension's going up pretty quickly. We're already up to, 60 billion, 80 billion, it's like, let's just kind of get this up, see how far we can kind of push it. I mean, it's blasting through the Ascension, even at what we're at now, we're at 800 billion. We're already kind of like hitting the trillion mark, and it's just going through so quick. Let's see what it's like when it gets to, it's kind of slowed down just a little bit there. Let's see what we're looking at. So 200 trillion, it's kind of like the first kind of bit of resistance. So let's just kind of see. I mean, the progress bar is starting. We're getting 42 Ascension coins right now for every one of those purple cursors. So that's pretty solid. With those levels up now, and plus as well, it's appearing like 3.5%. So we're getting quite an amount of them. I mean, already we're at 11,000. As you can see how much difference it makes just by really focusing on the leveling up of the Ascension coins, and then kind of spending the rest on kind of like, clicking power and stuff like that. So, already starting to move nicely on that there. You can see we've got, 26 trillion just in the space of a few minutes. Just kind of like even out these a little bit. I like to kind of keep these pretty even. There's probably a better way of doing it, but for some reason, I mean, we're up to 15% now. These upgrades are kind of coming in very handy. I think that was like kind of half. It was like 0.4. So the fact that we're kind of moving like double the amount. Also as well, I think click AoE was a lot lower as well. So that really does kind of like show that we are kind of increasing. Now, I'm not sure about the fallen cursors, whether the crit chance and the crit damage is works for that, or if it's just the kind of the clicker and the main thing. But we are, like I say, making a hell of a lot more kind of money on the fallen cursors now than anything else. So like kind of it's very important that we kind of look to make sure we getting as many of these fallen upgrades as the projectiles as possible, just to make sure that we're capturing as many of the fallen cursors as we can. So I'm just going to spend a bit more time just kind of leveling up, and then when we hit like a real roadblock, what I'll do is I'll kind of skip through again until, I mean, we've maxed out boulders. I think that's the first time we've managed to max out boulders, which, with those upgrades that we did, I mean, that's solid. That's real solid. I mean, it did take another overnight kind of farm, but, it's kind of the way this game is being designed, I think. So let's have a look. We are up to, we're in the kind of 100 trillion now. 115 trillion. That progress bar is going relatively quickly. So I think what we can do, I think we can pretty much get to the quadrillion stage relatively easily with this kind of overnight kind of like push. So let's kind of spend a little bit more time just kind of leveling up, make sure we have active up to the kind of next level. Then we can spend a little bit of time on the kind of cursor upgrades once it gets there. I mean, that helps a lot, getting 16 trillion there. So let's get this up to, let's see it. That'll do. And then just make sure they're all over the 200 mark. And then how much can we get with all of this? So we can get 13 levels of pretty much all of them. Let's do the boomerang's pretty good. I quite like the boomerang just because it gets such a, I mean, it fills the whole screen eventually. So I kind of like that pretty more than some of the others. I mean, the boulder for me is my personal favorite, just because, especially when you get the large ones, it just fills so much area. And the fact that we have it maxed out now as well is amazing, because it just like, you can see it just shreds through all of the cursors. I mean, that large one there, you can see it just wipes out the most of them. And then if you catch it on like kind of the outside, then that plus the kind of the spikes, you're covering well over half the screen. So so you can see here, I mean, we're trying to hit 400 trillion now. If you remember yesterday, we were even struggling at that stage. So the fact that we've kind of done this, I think, we could just kind of leave it like another night and kind of finish it up. But I think what we do is we just kind of try and get to that quadrillion stage, and then we kind of give it a little break for maybe a couple hours, and I'll get some breakfast and grab a cup of tea, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So I think, yeah, there we go. I mean, we're getting 2,000 in Ascension now, and this is an extra 200 trillion to get to 600 trillion. But you can see like the progress bar is just really kind of stepping up. We have enough things on screen now for the projectiles to kind of like make sure we're capturing most of the cursors. There's only a few that are kind of like sliding through a little bit. So I think we can do it today. I think we can get that last few achievements. Projectiles obviously costing. I think the projectiles are going to be the kind of biggest problem that we're going to have to get these last achievements. We actually have 5 left. So these are going to be pretty difficult. So we have these 2 upgrades to get. We did get up to the arrows, so like kind of I have a feeling that they're going to be a bit more than the 1 sextillion. But once we have that, I mean, we're done with the achievements, and we're done with this game. So let's kind of see how much longer it's going to take to get us up to the quadrillion stage. I mean, we're up to, at the 800 trillion, and that's just not taking much time at all. It's just flying up the numbers. Let's just check on our the rest of the stats. I know we had a look at the actual gold that we managed to acquire, but what we're looking at in terms of other things, we have 4.5 million total clicks. The fact that this has been running, I think we're kind of day 3 in now, or the start of day 3. Critical, I mean, 560,000 criticals is pretty solid. 851,000 click ascension coins. What else we got? Fallen cursor stats. Yeah, you can see there. I mean, we have like 2.8 million fallen cursors. Projectiles. So yeah, we're just waiting on those last 2. Okay. Oh, give that a click. And then, if we triple the active gold, that just makes it even quicker, you can see. There we go, 2,000. And this is I think this is the quadrillion mark. Yeah, the 1 quadrillion. I mean, he's so much faster now. It definitely helped. I mean, the fact that we got to 1 quintillion, the achievement for the 7,500% active gold did kind of like double, well, a bit less than double now, but double our kind of like actual gold, like coin acquisition. So that's definitely helping. But I think like kind of the main thing is the actual ascension coins that has made that number even bigger. Kind of like looking at it, we got, an extra 4,000% active gold on each of them. And then as well with the 10,000 kind of increase on that, it's just, it's massive. But yeah, you can see here, to get to 200 quadrillion, yeah, this is where the kind of the resistance happens with our progression. So yeah, so like I say, I'm going to grab some breakfast, give it a little bit, and then kind of come back and see if we can finish this pack. And after a short break, we are back, and we're already at 2 quintillion. But I mean, we have about almost 21 now, so you can see it is starting to ramp up a little bit. Obviously, that overnight kind of AFK session has kind of helped quite a lot. Now we have another 357,000 ascension coins. So I think we're kind of in a bit of a kind of position now where we can either ascend again and use those points, because we're trying to get these last 2 kind of upgrades. I mean, this one needs 75 quintillion. So I wonder, like thinking about it, like, do we do we go for the ascension? Do we go and kind of restart? Because, this is going to take some time now. I mean, 21 quintillion from when we kind of, it's only been like an hour or so since we kind of went for a bit of a break there and just grabbed some food. But, I think like, given that, I'm kind of like, do we just wait a little bit longer? I mean, I think if we do that and we kind of really just ramp up the active gold, I think we're getting enough ascension coins from which we are, getting like a lot of like the cursors and everything else. So we are gaining, ascension points pretty quickly. I mean, the fact that it's taken just like a short amount of time, in terms of the coins themselves, we've kind of added. I mean, we have 850,000 that we've got so far, but with the ascension coins at 360,000, almost an extra 50% of our total just in the space of an hour. So I think what we can do is if we ascend and we kind of increase the tier, maybe get, the cursor chance up to about 200, maybe increase this just a little bit more as well, and then put everything else in active goal. I think that would be quite a kind of play, because it looks like we've kind of actively kind of done up to like kind of 6 quintillion. That's why we don't have as much there. But I'm kind of curious on getting kind of the 75 as well. I mean, how much are we actually getting when we turn the auto clicker on? So it's kind of like, it's kind of back to where, the progression was pretty much where we were getting in the quadrillions kind of yesterday. So it is kind of increasing, but it's going to take a while to get that 75 quintillion just to unlock that. The bounce, what about the spike ball? So yeah, let's ascend. Let's make sure we set the, wrong one. We set it to passive, and then that'll just kind of ramp up while. So let's get this to, I don't know, see how it looks. It's 200. I mean, it is getting pretty expensive. Okay, so we have a 4% chance now. I think if we can get this up to maybe 450, see how that looks. Maybe a bit higher. I mean, we've only used 100,000. I mean, only used 100,000 seems a bit trivial now, but back when we've kind of first started, even kind of up until like kind of last night, it was quite a lot. So I think 500 there. Maybe take this up to 200. Just given that our cursors are kind of creating a lot more kind of money than the kind of the auto clicker is doing now. So let's see how far we can get this up to. This is going to help quite a lot. I don't want to take it too far because I do want to spend a little bit more. So maybe just, let's get 475. See if we can get this up to about 250 maybe. That just means it'll kind of take less upgrades to max out those projectiles. And again, same with this one. Let's just kind of like that just means we're getting more and more. I think if we get this up to like maybe 300, that'll kind of help out the kind of the click, which will help out the fallen cursors and so on and so forth. Actually, one thing that I did actually want to do was this, but 154,000, but we're going to have to wait till the next prestige. Now let's just see. I mean, we don't have a lot left, so I don't think we'll get to, we'll actually get to 500. I'm surprised at that. What else can we do? Maybe get this up to, I'll kind of do there, and then we go back to active, and then we kind of get max all of these, and let's have a look. I mean, before we even start, we're basically looking at the 200 billion kind of progression mark, which, that was just leaving the auto clicker going while we kind of level up. So we already have such a vast improvement. And then as well, don't forget to do that. I mean, we're already, like, one of the challenges to get a 1 plus AoE size, and we're doing that in kind of a couple of clicks, and okay, so you can see it's getting through the brilliance reasonably quick. How much do we get for? We get 52 now for one of the ascension coins for one of the purple cursors. Can we max out? Yep, we can max out both of them. We already have, the knife up to 15%. And given how quickly we're kind of using the auto clicker, okay, it's good to see more ascension points. We're already working into the trillions now. I mean, how quick the difference is just from that. And, the boulders, the spikes, they're really kind of helping out, kind of making sure we get all of those fallen cursors. And then we can just want to get these up to about the same. It's a shame this doesn't have like a round robin kind of thing where you can just kind of like, level up the lowest level. Auto purchase would be pretty cool just because, this is probably one of the things I forget about more than anything else. Which is not ideal. Let's see if we can get these all up to match the boomerangs. There we go. It's a little bit more. And may as well bring it up to over 100. And that's generally what I do. And the way I've been leveling is I kind of just level the lowest one, get them up to a certain mark, and then say, let's get this up to 500 now. Same with this one. There we go. And we only need 15 trillion, which to get the spears, which isn't going to take any time whatsoever, especially once we get the auto leveling of the active click up to kind of past that. That's basically like what I've been doing is I've been letting it kind of level up automatically. So it keeps on kind of progression with the clicks. And then once it hits that next thing, it'll kind of eventually unlock the projectile. And then once it does that, which I think it just has, yep. So that's going to need 8 trillion now. So we might as well bump these up a little bit. Oops, that one's already leveled up. Let's see if we can get it to about 2. Let's auto click a little bit. And, just in terms of the ascension, we already have 17,000. I mean, the fact that we've been playing maybe about 30 seconds or so, and we're kind of blasting through the trillions, the ascension coins are rolling in, we can keep kind of doing that. And, finding out kind of last time when we were, when I kind of seen that, like focusing on the click ascension kind of levels in actual fallen cursors for the purple ones kind of really helps out generating those ascension coins. Ascension coins are the kind of key driver of getting those levels up high. And getting those level up high means that we kind of increase the achievements and kind of getting them, which in turn increases our kind of coin kind of gathering even more. So kind of like it is kind of like a bit of a roundabout way, but it has really kind of spiked the kind of the progress. And like I say, last night, obviously that's the second night that we've kind of, left things AFK. But by doing that, we kind of like gathered enough ascension points. Luckily, I kind of seen that like kind of last night before we kind of left at AFK that the ascension points are so kind of like important. So, I feel like if we didn't do that, we would be in a worse spot than what we are now. But yeah, I mean, looking at that, I mean, are we up to, we're already hitting the quadrillion stage. So we are kind of getting on there, which I'm kind of happy about. How we're looking on here, let's just get these up to like 500, say, and just make sure we are evenly spreading them. There's probably a better way of doing this, I mean, we're already at a 25% kind of click chance, which, I think the max we got before this kind of a ascension kind of thing, I think we were like hitting on like 10%. So getting those kind of upgrades for the better click upgrades, the fact that we're doing 150%.
125%. We could probably level up that a little bit more. We could probably get that up to the 300 mark on the next kind of ascension. But before that, I definitely want to get the tier up on the cursors. Like, I didn't think that, like I said before, like, I didn't think the tiers were going to be that much. But given that, looking at the stats, like the fact that, we have like maybe about, I would say like 60-70%, well, say 60% of the gold coins that we have is from those cursors, which means projectiles are probably just as important as the kind of the active click level. And then on top of that with the ascension points. So let's get this up to the quadrillion mark, and then we'll just kind of keep on clicking, keep on auto leveling that active. It's already up to 612 trillion it needs to level up. And let's see where we can get to. I mean, we're hitting 1 trillion on criticals, and we're critting very often as well. Base is 95 billion. So like, the fact that we're at 465 million just on the base level before the multiplication of the ascension coins, it's going up pretty quickly. And there we go. Now we're up to the quadrillion mark. So yeah, let's see how long it takes to start getting like a little progress bar on that next ascension. I think we're kind of overdue for a bit of passive. And then once we get a little bit more money, what I want to start doing is start leveling up the projectiles again. And there is the progress bar ever so slowly. All right, there we go. This is way overdue. Let's get this up to about 200. And the things do get quite expensive. Okay, let's just blast the auto clicker. It does help, mainly for the knives chance and the shuriken chance, just kind of destroying all the fallen cursors. So I think that's probably about enough. Let's just get this up to about 200. Yeah, and then again, we've unlocked lasers already, which is just wild to me. Especially when we get the double lasers there, when they do the cross ones, it kind of just wipes out everything. Oops, that was the wrong one. I don't want it to level. Just get a few 100 trillion. And we go back and then get these kind of matched. A little bit more. And so on and so on. And you can see that progress bar is starting to speed up quite a lot. So where are we at? We're almost at 20% with the knife. Boulder and spikes maxed out. Shurikens, 12%. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. The ball speed, obviously those two, because of the achievement we have two, is 34 for the speed. I don't quite know what that is. Boomerang is on chance on click. The auto clicker, that's actually happening. This green little arrow here is obviously kind of helping towards that, which is great. But 7.1% isn't ideal. It's triggering a little bit, but not a lot. 20% chance for for the laser to kind of shoot. It's completely independent to the auto clicker. So we have 1, 2, 3 things which are just totally independent. I feel like this one's probably going to be kind of able to max out before these get anywhere close. I'm just going to keep on leveling them up now. And then, we're already into the quadrillions for leveling up our active. So let's just get a little bit more on this. What I want to do is I want to get this up to 154,000. So I'll kind of run through this a little bit more. And then when we get to the 150,000 to level up that, we'll prestige one more time. And then we'll just kind of leave to kind of let this run. Maybe for the rest of the day, maybe till tomorrow, just to see like what maybe a 24-hour kind of gap would be to get us up to get those final achievements. And I think what it is, getting sextillion is pretty wild to me, since we've only have 42. The fact that we've pretty much had this on for, looking at the time now, probably had this going for about 60 hours nonstop, from when we started the first episode of the video. And, with the auto clicker as well, that's helped, push that a lot. But yeah, the fact that this game is, advertised as a clicker game, but it's pretty much like turning into an idle game, which, a lot of clicker games kind of have like an idle progression. I feel like this one's pretty steep in terms of the what kind of unlocks that you have, and how achievements is very based on like how you kind of push that progression. I think what would be cool with this game, if there was maybe a little bit more of a I would say like a less steep of a curve to get to those final achievements. But I think as well as if they kind of like added a little bit more in terms of like the progression. So there's we have 55 achievements right now, but I feel like, those 55 achievements are on a steep curve. Whereas I think you could probably get the same amount of like kind of progression from start to finish, but maybe just increase a little bit more, have a few more achievements and a few more kind of like stepping stones, so that they're not as steep of a kind of plateau. So you see, like every time we had like, the first plateau that we had was 200 million, then it was 200 trillion, billion, so on and so forth. I think there needs to be a bit of a bridge, or a bit of a kind of a like, I would say just inserting a few more things, not quite like the, exponential kind of progression that you get when you finally hit that plateau or kind of like break past it, but more so like kind of like going from like 1 million to 200 million is a huge gap. And like, going from, 1 billion to 100 billion is a huge gap. I think if they like added just a few little things in between, just to kind of bridge it a little bit and just kind of make it a little bit more like, oh, I can still play this game, instead of like, oh, I need to, leave this overnight and kind of progress, like let the game progress itself. I think just adding some little elements in there, and I don't quite know what it would be, but I feel like just adding a few things here and there would be actually pretty cool, just to kind of retain like people's attention and kind of, engaging with the game a little bit more. I think that, those massive big kind of bridge, like those plateaus really kind of deter you from playing the game, from which you just kind of leave it open and kind of let it run. But yeah, that's my rant kind of over and stuff. So yeah, let's like kind of give this a little while and see if we can get to the, get to or close to the sextillion mark. And then, any kind of things that we kind of like that happen in the progression wise, I'll come back just before those happen.
Many hours later.
And finally, after a little bit more grinding, we finally do have 1 sextillion total gold acquired, which gives us a 25,000 click gold increase. So all we're waiting on now is the ball turrets, which is going to cost 5 sextillion. And we're also going to need to shoot 5,000 bullets, which obviously is going to take a little bit more time. So I'm kind of going to save up enough. And again, thanks to the magic of video editing, what will be a couple of seconds for you will be absolutely maybe 12, 15, 20 hours. Who knows? All I know is it's going to be a long, long time before we can get that. I mean, you can see how crazy with that little spike ball thing that when they're large. Oh my God, they are just destroying everything. So yeah, so let's wind on a little bit of time, and then yeah, let's finally get all of these achievements done. And that's the turrets unlocked. And after a little bit longer, We've finally done it. We have all of the achievements, the last one being shoot 5,000 bullets. So that's everything right now. All achievements done. That took a long time to get done, but we did it. And here's our absolute mayhem of what we have to show. So guys, appreciate you sticking with me this long. If you've got to this point in the video, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one.